Hello, good morning. This is Kishore, working as a physics lecturer from Nignan College. So, we are learning the chapter Thermal Properties of Matter. And in this lesson, in the last session, we learned about the convection, types of convection, Wien's law. In this session, we will learn about Stefan's law, Stefan-Boltzmann's law, global warming, greenhouse effect, and Newton's law of cooling. So, let us start the session. Now, let us see Stefan's law. Stefan's law states that the energy radiated by a black body per second per unit area is directly proportional to fourth power of absolute temperature. So it states that the energy radiated by a black body per second per unit area is directly proportional to fourth power of absolute temperature. So let us consider if H is energy radiated by a black body per second. So here H is nothing but the energy radiated by a black body per second. Then H is proportional to T power 4. So here H is the energy radiated by a black body per second per unit area, and from this law this H is proportional to fourth power of absolute temperature. So capital T is the absolute temperature, so H is proportional to T power 4. And if we remove the proportionality, how to enter is a constant, so H is equal to sigma T power 4, where sigma is a constant. Sigma is a constant called as Stefan's constant. So this is about the Stefan's law. Let us see once again. The energy radiated by a black body per second per unit area is directly proportional to fourth power of absolute temperature. So if we consider H is the energy radiated by a black body per second per unit area, then this heat energy H is proportional to fourth power of absolute temperature. Here T is the absolute temperature. So if we remove the proportionality, you have to introduce a constant. H is equal to sigma T power 4. Here sigma is a constant which is called as Stefan's constant. So sigma is the Stefan's constant. And now we can find the units as well as the dimension formula for sigma. So here we are considering that the area is 1 unit and also time is 1 unit. So if the area is not 1 unit, so area has some other value and the time is also not 1 unit, then this becomes H is equal to sigma A T power 4 into T, where A is the area of cross section and T is the time of flow. Then from this equation the sigma becomes equal to sigma is equal to H by A T power 4 into T. So here T power 4 is the T is the absolute temperature and small t is the time, H is the heat energy and A is the area. And from this you can write the units as well as the dimension formula. So H is nothing but heat energy. So we know the units of heat energy. So in CGS system the unit for heat energy is calorie, whereas in MKS the unit of heat energy is joule. And for area the CGS unit is centimeter square, and in MKS the unit is meter square. And for temperature the CGS unit is degree centigrade, and in MKS the temperature unit is Kelvin. And for time the units in CGS or MKS it is second. So now we can write the units as, so CGS unit of sigma is, so for H it is calorie, and for area it is centimeter square, and for temperature it is degree centigrade power 4, and for time it is second. So this is the CGS unit. So the CGS unit is calorie per centimeter square, degree centigrade power 4 second. And coming to the MKS unit, so it is joule per meter square, Kelvin power 4 second. And this joules per second is called as watt. So this can also be written as, so joule per second is nothing but watt. So watt per meter square, Kelvin power 4. So this is also the unit for MKS unit for Stefan's constant. Now we can write the dimension formula. So we know the dimension formula heat energy. So it is m power 1, L power 2, T power minus 2. So write the dimension formula. So dimension formula for sigma. So for heat energy it is m power 1 L power 2 T power minus 2 divided by, for area it is L power 2, for temperature it is K, so K power 4, and for time it is T. So by simplifying this we get L power 2 get cancelled, so it is m power 1 L power 0 T power minus 3 and K power minus 4. So this is the dimension formula for Stefan's constant. So see once again the dimension formula. So for heat energy it is m power 1 L power 2 T power minus 2, and for area it is L power 2, and for temperature it is K power 4, and for time it is T. So by simplifying we get m power 1 L power 0 T power minus 2 and K power minus 4. This is the dimension formula for Stefan's. And the value of Stefan's constant is sigma is equal to 5.67 into 10 power minus 8 watt per meter square Kelvin power 4. This is the value of Stefan's constant, 5.67 in 10 power minus 8 watt per meter square Kelvin power 4. And this is all for a black body. If there is not a black body, for other bodies, and this Stefan's law becomes equal to H is equal to sigma A E T power 4 into T. This is for other bodies. So for other bodies, H is equal to sigma A E T power 4 into T, where E is the emissivity. So E is nothing but emissivity, and for a black body the value of emissivity is 1. This is for black body. So that's why for black body C becomes 1. So for other bodies this Stefan's law is nothing but H is equal to sigma A E T power 4 into T, where E is the emissivity and A is the area of cross section, sigma is the Stefan's constant, and T is the absolute temperature, and small t is the time, H is nothing but heat energy. So this is the Stefan's law for the other bodies. Now let us see Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So another scientist, Boltzmann, come into picture and modified the Stefan's law, which is named as Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So by coming Boltzmann's a scientist, so Stefan's law is modified as Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So this law states that a body at a temperature is T with the surround at a temperature of Ts. So here T is the temperature of the body and Ts is the temperature of surrounding, so emits as well as receives energy. Then the amount of heat energy H is equal to, or H is proportional to T power 4 minus Ts power 4 . So the amount of heat energy is proportional to T power 4 minus Ts power 4, where T is the temperature of the body and Ts is the temperature of surrounding. So by removing the proportionality, we have to introduce a constant, then it becomes equal to H is equal to. So here sigma H is nothing but the amount of heat energy flowing per unit area per second and for a black body. So for other bodies this becomes equal to H is equal to sigma A E T power 4 minus Ts power 4 into T. So this is called as Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So for other bodies H is equal to sigma A E T power 4 minus Ts power 4 into T, where sigma is Stefan's constant, sigma is Stefan's constant, A is area of cross section and E is emissivity and T is temperature of the body and Ts is temperature of surroundings. So let us see once again Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So Boltzmann entered into a picture and modified the Stefan's law, which is termed as Stefan's Boltzmann's law. So a body is at a temperature of T, the surroundings at a temperature of Ts, so emits as well as receives energy. then H proportional to T power 4 minus Ts power 4. So we remove the proportionality, you have to introduce a constant, which is equal to sigma A E T power 4 minus Ts power 4 into T. So in this case here H is nothing but the amount of heat energy flowing for a black body per second per unit area. And here is nothing but heat energy flowing in area A as well as time T. So here is A is the area and T is the time of flow, and here the sigma is a constant which is called as Stefan's constant, and E is the emissivity, and T is the temperature of the body, and Ts is the temperature of surroundings. So this is about Stefan's-Boltzmann. Now let us see global warming and greenhouse effect. About 75% of the solar energy reaching the earth is absorbed by the earth's surface. Some of the heat is trapped by the gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon compounds, CFCs, and water vapor in the atmosphere. Thus, they added to the heating of the atmosphere. This causes global warming. In fact, this is called as a global warming. So, because of these gases, the temperature of the atmosphere increases, which is called as the global warming. And we all know that in cold places, flowers, vegetables, and fruits are grown in the glass-covered areas called greenhouses. But the temperature of Earth is now undergoing changes. Though this change may be slowly, atmosphere traps the sun's heat near the Earth's surface and keep it warm. This is called natural greenhouse effect because it maintains the temperature and makes the Earth perfect for life. And what are the gases that are responsible for the global warming? So carbon dioxide molecule present in the Earth's atmosphere traps heat as they are transparent to sunlight but not to the heat radiation. Hence carbon dioxide is the major contribution of global warming. So one of the major contribution is nothing but carbon dioxide. So besides carbon dioxide, so there are some other gases which are contribution for the global warming, and they are greenhouse gases such as methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, and CFCs, which are used in air conditions, etc., are also damaging the ozone layer. And the CFCs also damage the ozone layer. And nitrous oxide occurs naturally and are increased significantly due to use of chemical fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels. Then what are the effects of global warming? So because of the global warming, the average temperature of the earth increases, so thereby the polar ice caps melts and they flood the water into rivers and seas, which causes severe floods. And it also increases the infection diseases such as dengue, malaria, and yellow fever, and also sleeping sickness, etc. So these are the effects of global warming. Let us see what is global warming. As carbon dioxide content increases, more heat energy is retained in the atmosphere and the temperature of all over the world increases, so that effect is called as a global warming. As CO2, the carbon dioxide content is increases, more heat energy is retained in the atmosphere itself and the temperature of the all over the world increases, which is called as a global warming. And what are the effects of this global warming? So there are so many effects of the global warming. So let us see some effects of the global warming. As polar ice caps melts and fed more water in rivers and seas, results in severe floods. So because of this global warming, as the temperature of the earth increases more, the temperature becomes more and more, the ice caps melts and fed more because of the melting of ice caps, more water is fed in the rivers and seas, which results in severe floods. And in some areas, water resources dry up. So because as the temperature increases more, some areas the water resources dry up, leading to drought conditions. So these are the some effects of global warming. So polar ice caps melts and fed more water in the rivers and seas, which results in severe floods. And in some areas, water resources dry up, leading to the drought condition. So these are the effects of global warming. Now let's see Newton's law of cooling. So this law states that the rate of loss of heat energy is directly proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surrounding. The rate of loss of heat energy is directly proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surroundings. So what is rate of loss of heat energy? The heat energy divided by time is called as the rate of loss of heat energy. So the loss of heat energy divided by time is called as rate of loss of heat energy. Let us consider it as d theta by dt, where dt is the loss of heat energy and dt is the time. So the loss of heat energy divided by time is called as rate of loss of heat energy. So this is proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surrounding. So it is proportional to T2 minus T1. So d theta by dt proportional to T2 minus T1. Here T2 is temperature of the body and T1 is temperature of surroundings. So this law states that the rate of loss of heat energy is directly proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surroundings. So d theta by dt is called as the loss of heat energy, that is rate of loss of heat energy. That means loss of heat energy is d theta divided by time is called as the rate of loss of energy. This is proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surroundings. So here T2 is the temperature of the body and T1 is the temperature of surroundings. And if you remove the proportionality, then this becomes equal to d theta by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. So d theta by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. Here the negative sign indicates there is a loss of heat energy. So d theta by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. So minus indicates, the negative sign indicates the loss of energy, and in this case T2 is the temperature of the body and T1 is the temperature of surroundings. So this is about the Newton's law of cooling. D theta by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. So here d theta by dt is the rate of loss of heat energy, T2 is the temperature of the body, and T1 is the temperature of surroundings. So now we will derive or prove the Newton's law of cooling. For that, let us consider a body of mass m and specific heat S. And let us consider the temperature of the body is T2 and the temperature of surrounding is T1. Now the temperature is passed by a small amount dT2 in time dt. So the amount of heat loss is given by Q is equal to ms delta T. So here the heat energy is dQ because it is a small amount. So dQ is equal to ms dt2, where dt is a small amount of change in temperature. So dQ is equal to ms dt2. So dQ is equal to ms dt2. And now let us find that dQ by dt, which is equal to ms dt2 by dt. Let us consider this as equation 2. And from Newton's law of cooling, we already know that dQ by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. So this is from Newton's law of cooling, that is the rate of loss of heat energy is proportional to temperature difference between the body and the surroundings. And this is nothing but dQ by dt, just now find, which is equal to ms dt2 by dt. Now equate these two, then we get ms dt2 by dt is equal to minus k into T2 minus T1. Now rearrange this equation. So dt2 by T2 minus T1 is equal to, that means we are bringing T2 minus T1 to this side and take this other side, and it becomes minus k by ms into dt. So dt2 by T2 minus T1 is equal to minus k by ms into dt. Now integrate this equation. On integrating both sides, we get integral of dt2 by T2 minus T1 is equal to integral of minus k by ms into dt. So we know from the formula integral of dx by x is equal to log x plus some constant, and integral of dx is equal to x.
So we're using these two formulas in this equation. So integral of dx by x is nothing but log x. So from this formula it becomes logarithm of t2 minus t1, and this is minus k by ms is a constant. So integral of dt is, from this formula, integral of dx is x. So integral of dt becomes t. So this is equal to minus k by ms into t plus some other constant. And let us consider k dash is equal to k by ms. Then this equation becomes equal to logarithm of t2 minus t1 is equal to minus k dash into t plus c. Now take logarithm to the other side, then it becomes t2 minus t1 is equal to e power of minus k dash into t plus c. And from this t2 is equal to t1 plus e power minus k dash into t plus some constant.
So this equation is used to find the rate of cooling of a body for a particular range of temperature. And if I draw a graph between log t2 minus t1 and t, we get a straight line. Because this is the equation of a straight line, which is in the form y is equal to mx plus c, so the graph is a straight line. Now let us see what are the conditions for Newton's law of cooling to be applicable. So loss of heat is negligible only by conduction and not by due to convection. So Newton's law is applicable only for whenever the loss of heat is only negligible by conduction and only is due to because of convection. And loss of heat occurs in streamline flow of air, that is because of the forced convection. And the temperature of the body is uniformly distributed over it, and the temperature difference is moderate up to only 30 Kelvin. So then only the Newton's law of cooling is applicable. So these are the conditions that Newton's law of cooling is to be applicable. So students, in this session we learn about Stefan's law, Stefan's-Boltzmann's law, what is the global warming, greenhouse effect, and also Newton's law of cooling. So that's all about this section. So we will meet in the next session. Until then, have a great day. Thank you.